through, but I just want to make sure, like always, that it's working before I start talking. So I just want to make sure that it's coming through on everything. The stream is live and nice and solid. All right, good bananas. I can see that. So awesome. It's working. Guys, today's going to be Wednesday, so it's just business Q&A. So there's dozens and dozens of business questions that I've been asked, things that I've collected from out there on the web. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through them all and we're going to look at them together. And I'm just going to basically say, this is what I think, this is my 2 cents, and do it from there. Super easy, super simple, nice and comfortable sort of day for us. But I really like a lot of these questions. Before we get started, who am I? I'm Ronald Osborne. If you're new here, I'm an award-winning international business coach. Unlike many other of the business coaches out there, I've actually achieved my version of success. I wanted to retire by the time I was 30. I wanted that possibility. I did not want to have to work. And I did that. I did that with my telecommunications company. First name was Double the Data. Changed it to Twex as we grew to 30 employees, and we we're doing millions and millions of dollars each year in revenue. And then from there, I started to have friends and other people along the journey go, how did you do it? So over the last 10 years, the last decade, I've been helping people like this down here on my website do more and help them achieve their version of success with their business, because not everyone wants to be a millionaire. Some people, I've worked with executives that it's coming to the end of their run. They're looking to go out to pasture, but they don't have any side ventures because they've just worked in the one company their whole life. They've gone up and they've sat in the C-suite. You know, they don't have something going on the side that they are looking at passing off to their son, daughters, whatever it may be. I've helped people build small businesses like that. And 10 grand a month for them was enough. It was something to keep them busy. So I've helped a lot of people achieve their version of success. So if you ask, am I an absolute business guru? No, I'm always learning. And I love the journey that I'm on. But I'll give you my honest opinion to a lot of the questions that I get asked. And if you have any questions, just ask away. I'll do my absolute best to note everything down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come across here and just make sure that stream looks good. And if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. Just put them in the chat and I should be able to see it, no worries. So just drop them in there. Let's get started. All right, I'm just going to also put a timestamp on this stuff too. Okay, so Ronald, what's your best small business advice for someone just starting out? Look, someone just starting out, if you're just starting out in the business game, I think probably one of the most valuable things is seize every opportunity. The biggest thing I loved about the military is it actually teaches you, it's you have to be on the front foot. You have to always be aggressive. You shouldn't have a defensive mindset. Every opportunity that comes at you, seize it. I remember for the longest time, and again, I'll go back to this construction company and even the digital marketing space and everything like this. Everyone always said there was a time limit on that space. And I believe that. I believe that there's actually a time limit on the white collar industry. Anyone that's working on a computer or a video like we are now, I think you've got a limited time. But I've not just shut up and sat in a corner and started to cry. I always try to do more. And I think that would have to be the biggest bit of advice I could give to someone starting out. Make sure that your idea is realistic. I would say I love SMART goals. Go away and do some SMART goals. If you don't know how to do them, just go to the Ronald Osborne website, click on this, the 15 free business checklist, and come down here. You'll get this. You get access to all of these. Just come over here, get the SMART goals. This has the 12-month objective, and it has it where you've got the just one objective. Now, the reason I say you want to do something like this is because it'll sort of pull you into focus. You won't actually sit there and do something that's not really relevant for yourself. I've always found that a lot of people, they come to me with a lot of good ideas. I get a lot of construction workers come to me with like a product that they've designed to make their life easier. Some of it's good, but some of it is just a terrible idea. You need to sit down and make sure that what you're looking at doing is realistic and it's viable and it's something that could actually be achieved. Don't sit there and say, I'm going to make a new software that no one else has ever thought of and I'm going to make billions of dollars with it. It doesn't work like that. I've had SaaS fail. I've had a SaaS product fail. So not a failure, but I can't justify charging someone $197 a month when I build things like this and it costs $4 to run. How is that? That's like, I've got to stand in front of God one day and he's just going to be like, mate, you've got all these people like that have come after you. They're saying that they're going to want their rights because you've ripped them off. To me, that's haram. Like, it's not good to do that to people. It's not fair. And I think as things are constantly changing, you're just going to have to put your front foot forward and charge it absolutely everything. There's a lot of opportunities out there today, so just seize it. Like, don't be lazy and just seize it. That would have to be like the biggest thing. Don't overthink it. You know, like, that's another one. Don't overthink it. A lot of people kind of get stuck because they're overthinking a little bit too much. Don't do that. I think just dive straight into the deep end, regardless of what it is that you're looking at doing. Just dive straight into the deep end. That's the first question. Here's a good one. Oh, this is actually specific as. You scaled a telecom company to millions with 30 employees. What's the number one cash flow mistake you see small businesses making? It's a good question. The biggest mistake that I see small business like cash flow mistakes making, I would have to say biggest one. Man, that's a good question. It's got me thinking. I would think enforcing payments is a big one. So I work with a lot of contractors. I've got my own roofing, own electrical, plumbing, gigs, and I work with a lot of HVAC, roofers, plumbers, you name it. I work with them. In the construction space, I worked or work with them currently. The biggest thing that bleeds cash and impacts cash flow for contractors specifically is the payment terms and the delayed in payment they get from the bigger contractors or individuals themselves. Because what you'll find a lot of the time, you'll have, especially with starting out roofers, they'll normally be subcontractors to a main roofer. So you've got the main roofer here and then you've got subbies here. They win the work. Maybe they don't have enough employees and maybe they don't want to do this job because it's a small shingle roof that's worth $15,000. So they'll just handball it off to the subby where they can make $1,000. They don't care. This is where the problems start to arise. And what I see a lot of the times is when I start working with contractors, I say, okay, what's our cash flow like? How are we looking with everything? And how do you get paid? What's the terms and conditions you get paid on? And they'll normally sit there and say, oh, we're meant to get paid in 90 days, 60 days, whatever it may be. However, what I find a lot of the time is like, okay, do they fulfill their end of the agreement? Are you getting paid in 60 days, 90 days? Is that actually being executed on? And as someone that had a multi-million-dollar construction company, I can tell you everyone, even the biggest listed on the ASX company, ASX is like the NASDAQ of Australia. It's the New York Stock Exchange, not the NASDAQ. It's the New York Stock Exchange of Australia. Those companies that are listed on that would be slow to pay me. It's universal. It's in America, Australia, the Middle East, Europe. It's universal. It's a universal problem. And where I find the easiest way that you can fix that is by buttoning that down. So a big thing that I do when I work with the construction companies is I make sure they start kicking people in the arse if they're not paying them on time. And look, some of the contractors are not happy to work with or even like get up people as an example and say, hey, you need to be paying me, you need to be doing more, you need to be doing this. When like when they're being paid behind 10 days, 20 days, sometimes 30 days. I've seen people get paid like 45 days consistently, around there, consistently late. That's unacceptable. Turns a 60-day agreement into a 90-day agreement. It was ridiculous. A 100-day agreement. It was ridiculous. Now, sometimes these contractors aren't comfortable to get on the phone and give whoever it is they're talking with a G up. That's where I step in. So sometimes, and to be honest, I kind of like it, because I was on the receiving end of having to sit down in meetings literally with the chief marketing officer of, again, ASX listed companies, to sit down and say, you owe me this money, pay me this money, or I'm taking you to court. And then there's been people that I've had to take to court. This is just how it is. So I like being able to sit in the room or call them and say, listen, these payment terms are dog shit. It's killing our cash flow. You need to fix that, or we're out. We're out. So that's something that I definitely suggest. If you're a noob and you're having cash flow problems, that's something that I'd address. Try and button up your payment terms. Now, when it comes to like medical clinics, med spas, I work with a lot of med spas, chiropractors, physiotherapists. In those spaces particularly, the biggest like area of cash flow problems for them is when they start to try and be too aggressive in things like marketing, lead generation. They bleed a little bit much because they perceive their assumptions are too aggressive. I've found that quite often. A lot of chiropractors, I don't know, it must be a chiropractor thing, but a lot of chiropractors go, right, we're coming in to Christmas. There's going to be a lot more people with time off. They're going to want to come in and get their back fixed. They're going to want an alignment for sure. We're going to be doing 25,000 this month. We're going to do 50,000 at the clinic this month. What we should do is be really aggressive with marketing. And you sit there and go, oh, okay. Let's have a look at what we did last year. We did 30 grand. Well, that's not 50. Yeah, but last year we weren't as well known. They'd just be a little bit too aggressive. So that's honestly like a psychological issue. Again, chiropractors. So sorry all my clients out there that are chiropractors. I'm not having a dig, but it's just something that I've noticed. Oh, that's not actually a banger of a question. This is a good question. It's an absolute banger of a question. What do small business owners really need help with that no one's talking about? For me, my 2 cents on that issue would be the biggest thing that they're not talking about is probably employee underperformance. Look, I'm torn with this because part of me does believe, like, I'm a God-fearing man. Usury, in my book, this is haram. Usury, charging interest, charging these types of things, this is haram. And this has created an uncoupling of, we're at the end of, I don't want to sound like a pessimist, but we're approaching, I believe, a time where everything's just going to get harder. And the proof's in the pudding. Everyone's feeling that. And I don't think that it's right that employers are trying to get the most out of an employee that they pay $25 for when they know that's not a living wage for the specific role. But then on the other hand, from the perspective of the business owner, I do think where a lot of them are being shortchanged is in the space where their employees are underperforming. So I know that a lot of employees, if you were to actually monitor their performance, they're not giving you the full 8 hours. Now, again, you have to be someone. I've worked with a lot of business owners that pay minimum wage and then sit there and go, why is my employee, this company over here that pays $15 more, they're getting more work out of their employees. My stuff's better. I have a great location. We have a coffee machine. There's even a free vending machine in the warehouse, Ron. What's going on? My employees are lazy. And you sit there and go, brother, like, you're paying minimum wage when they all know that the competitor across the street who's doing more than you is paying them more. Now, monetary incentives aren't everything to employees, but you have to be realistic. And if you can sit there and say, I am actually a good boss, I do provide my employees with what they want, because there's some employees that actually just want growth in their personal career ventures compared to money. Okay, so you need to make sure that you are fulfilling all of their needs. Like, understand what motivates each employee. Most important thing. If you can tick that box, the next thing again is you've got to work on improving their performance. Perhaps you are paying them right. You are a good boss. You do provide them with growth opportunities. If they are then underperforming, that's on you to fix. And that's a big thing that I think a lot of people aren't talking about today, because I think everyone's focusing too much on it sucks for the employee, but they're missing out on what sucks for the business and the business owner as well. I think that's I think that's the thing that no one's really talking about, because that's what I'm seeing. Like, I'm on the receiving end of that. The biggest way I would tell you to overcome this, if you're a business owner, is again, make sure you've ticked the box of, you got to make sure that everyone's looked after. Again, you should know what motivates each employee, because all of them are different. As long as you tick that box, okay, that's taken care of. Halas. The next thing you need to do is sit there and go, all right, how do I ensure that they're achieving realistic targets? If you're able to draw up SOPs, so standard operating procedures, like the military, but you can also draw up a realistic chart of what should be achieved in a time slot, that's always something fantastic to start with. So again, like, if, as an example with my team, if we need to create a lot of blogs, create something along these lines, like create content for a client, as an example, the biggest thing is, I know how long it takes to, once a keyword is in the topical map for creation, I know how long it's going to take my employee to create the blog, upload it on the website. So they should be able to do 4 to 5 blogs a day. If they come in and go, I've done 2 today and I did 3 yesterday, immediately I can ascertain you're underperforming. And there doesn't need to be it doesn't need to be like a confrontational situation then, because you don't even need to say anything. They know the benchmark and they've missed it 2 days in a row. Compared to if you were to sit there and go, not have these metrics established prior to them conducting whatever they're doing, you'll find that you're unable to sit there and really nitpick and say, listen, you should be achieving this, you're not achieving this. And that will help you a lot more than it will help them. It helps them obviously, but it'll help your organization. Oh, here's a good one. I like this one. Have a sip of water. If you have any questions, guys, ask away. I haven't actually checked the chat. That's my bad. Sorry, guys. I'll answer those questions after this one. All right, so back to this. What have we got? 1625. What's the fastest way to increase revenue for a small business? Man, that's a good question. Look, I'll tell you some cheeky little secrets, what I like doing. Let's say you hire me as your business coach. You're like, Ronnie, we're underperforming, revenue figures are down or they're stagnant. We're not doing as well as what we used to do. The first thing that I find all businesses underutilize is retargeting of past clients. Now listen to this key metric. Someone that has purchased from you in the past is 7 times more likely to buy from you again than a new individual. Let me repeat that. Someone that has bought from us in the past is 7 times more likely to buy from us again. Hear what I'm saying? So as an example, one of the ways I increased revenue literally by $51,000 after a couple of months for a hydraulics business was because what we did was they had 10 years of customer data. You know what they've done with it? Nothing. Had they uploaded it into an AI system to gain a persona of who actually buys for them? So when it comes to creating marketing material and an audience for our Google ads, for SEO, who they were actually going after? Wasn't done. This is the biggest secret where I maximize a lot for people. This is where I've been able to literally generate millions and millions of dollars for clients over the years. Again, this is not just one person. I'm talking all of my clients, millions of dollars, is because a lot of people do not simply sit there and go through the past people that they've worked with, okay? I'm telling you, whatever it is to win them back, try and win them back. That is something that you can, I promise you, if you do it correctly, your revenue should increase with a simple marketing offer by 10 to 25% in the space of a couple of months. If it doesn't, you've got to give me a call because you're not doing something right. And how do you do that? You just go over to my website, ronaldosborne.org. Okay, it's super simple. Come over to ronaldosborne.org, book a session. We'll have a free 15-minute chat and I'll give you a bit of a kick up the arse because you should be able to generate those numbers very, very easily. You know, and that's not what someone's talking about. If I start to see this being talked about more often out there, I know that people have been enjoying the views for me, enjoying my YouTube content, enjoying my live streams. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So anyway, that's something that I would just be saying there. That's the main thing that you want to be looking at. You want to realistically retarget individuals. Another thing that's really simple to do is, look, before conducting market research, you can try increasing your prices. Now, if you're an established business, I'll give you a big tip here. If you're someone that's established, someone that's been around for a long time, you're going to be able to charge your prices, increase your price value a lot quicker without so much of pushback from your existing clients. So again, let's just say you're a diesel mechanic. You normally charge this much for a service. It's been 2 years since you put your prices up. Put them up. Now, what do I typically find? You know, no one really pushes back. 5 to 10% annually is pretty fair. I don't see much pushback from people there. You won't typically lose anyone with those prices. It's when you start to push up into the 15, 20, 25, you're going to start to see some pullback. People are going to start pulling away from you. But in this world, if you realistically think about it, true inflation, in my personal opinion, at least for the last 2 decades, remember I have an MBA specializing in finance, and the biggest pushback I had was literally linking the banks to pushing up property prices due to the availability of capital. Who'd have thought? But, you know, no one seems to be saying that. The fact is that when you're able to just jack up your prices in line with real inflation, you'll keep the survival of your business going along a lot more. When you start to be a little bit more aggressive and you start to really try and do 25, 35% increases. I worked with this was a couple of years ago. I worked with a client that had worked with a business coach. Okay, look, they went from look, I'm trying to think of a good way to put this. Okay, they went from making a certain amount of revenue to making not so much of that revenue. The reason was because for some reason they thought, you've got 35 clients. If we just double your price, you're going to have maybe 10 clients paying you what 35 clients pay you. They had fucking no one. They had to sign up on, excuse the language, but they had to go out there and beg, borrow and steal to re-engage people. It was the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. I do believe that increasing your prices is fair. There's nothing wrong with that. Operation expenses go up, labor expenses go up, everything goes up. It doesn't go down. It's hard to find something that's deflationary in this day and age. But the thing is, don't be greedy. I see a lot of people being very, very greedy. So that's just my 2 cents. Read the question on here. Best way to get capital nowadays? Look, best way to get capital, it's a good question. I'm actually involved with a client right now that's, I wonder if this is them being a bit cheeky. Merchant financing. So essentially the way it works is give you some capital, and that's paid off instead of with interest. It's paid off with your invoices. So as an example, I give you 100 grand. Then when you get your invoice in from doing the roof, I'll take a percentage, 20, 30% of that invoice until we chip away at your amount. No worries. Merchant financing, I think, is a good way to raise capital. I wonder if that's my client being a little bit cheeky, but I'll find out later. But that is something that you can do. Okay, so that's something that you can do for raising capital for your businesses. Well, I don't know what's happened there. Just noticed that there was a bit of a glitch with my streaming stuff. Well, that's strange. Connection lost. I'm having problems with Restream. Restream is killing me. What are you doing, Restream? What's going on here? Yeah, I'm having this crash. It just keeps bugging out. I don't know what it is. Bucknose. X bugging out. Could be the Cloudflare like problems, but I don't know. I have no idea what the fuck's going on here. Apologies, guys. I'll try and get this to like make sure that she's actually working before I keep talking. It's strange. I think it's working on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, guys. Apologies for that. Don't normally have problems. I'm just saying I can see that there's like the test things coming up. But guys, I'm seeing this drop out constantly. I don't know what's going on. Like it just seems to be dropping off constantly. I might just drop it to YouTube and I'll see what happens from there. A lot of individuals are just really, really struggling. Sorry guys, this is dog shit. I don't know how it is. I don't know if I see my stream lose all connections. Kept in your mind, at the forefront of your mind when you are building a company, is that you will lose a lot of sleep. Like it is, like they say, it's your baby, and it can become very problematic. So yeah, look, I'm going to call it quits there, guys.